My name is Eric. I'm 30 years old and I live in a small city just outside of Columbus, Ohio. Nothing too exciting, just quiet suburbs, warehouses, fast food joints, and the usual strip malls. I work full-time as a floor manager at a local logistics center. It's a decent job, pays okay, keeps me busy. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment above a hardware store. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. I'm not really the dating app type. I've tried it off and on, mostly when the nights get too quiet. After my last relationship ended about a year and a half ago, I took a break from all of it. But a few weeks ago, I found myself reinstalling one of those apps, Tinder, to be specific. No big expectations, just curiosity, I guess, and loneliness. That too. So I'm swiping through profiles. You know how it goes, left, left, definitely left. Then I see one that makes me stop. Her name's Melissa. Blonde, soft smile, warm eyes, not one of those fake, filtered influencer types. She looked real. Her bio was simple. I love coffee, long walks and quiet nights. Don't waste my time. That last part made me grin. I swipe right. Match. Within an hour, I had a message. Hey, just that straightforward. I replied back. We started chatting and it was easy, really easy. Over the next few days, we messaged constantly mornings before work, during my lunch breaks late at night, when I'd come home exhausted. Her responses were thoughtful. She wasn't trying to impress me with emojis or filters or weird TikTok lingo. She actually asked about me, about my job, my family, if I liked my work, what I did for fun. She listened and I found myself opening up. She told me she was 24, lived across town, worked in retail, had a complicated relationship with her mom, and hated sushi. She liked jazz, old movies, and working out at home. Gyms are full of weird guys, she said. That made me laugh. We never FaceTimed, which I found a little odd, but she sent voice messages. Her voice was calm, a little husky, but soft. I didn't question it too much at first. Some people just aren't comfortable with video calls, and honestly, I kind of liked the mystery. By the end of the first week, I realized I was checking my phone way more than usual. I'd wake up looking for her message. Sometimes it was already there, like she knew I'd check early. Good morning, hope work isn't crazy today, or don't forget to eat something. It was sweet. I hadn't had that kind of attention in a long time. So I asked her out. Nothing dramatic. Just, hey, you want to grab a coffee sometime this weekend? She replied pretty fast. I'd love to, but this weekend's complicated. Maybe next week. Okay, no big deal. Life happens. Next week came. I asked again, you free Thursday evening? She responded, my aunt's in the hospital. I'm spending time with family right now. I told her I understood and I did, but something felt off. I mean, we're talking every single day for hours, and she always seemed available to text or chat, but never to meet. I didn't push too hard. I didn't want to scare her off, but deep down I started wondering, was she hiding something? Was I being catfished? I'd seen friends get scammed before, fake profiles, fake photos, fake everything. But this felt different. Her messages weren't generic. She remembered the smallest things, like that I preferred waffles over pancakes, or that my mom used to call me Bear as a kid. Those aren't details a scammer usually picks up on. So I kept talking to her because, honestly, she made me feel like someone gave a damn. After a long shift at work, dealing with the broken pallets and last-minute shipments, her messages felt like breathing room, something I looked forward to. Around the third week, I asked again, okay, real talk. Let's do something low-key. No pressure, public place, daylight, you name it. There was a pause. She didn't respond for almost a full hour. Then finally, I want to, I really do. But I need you to trust me when I say it's not that simple. I read that message at least 10 times. Not that simple. What does that even mean? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything, every message, every voice note, every excuse. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe this wasn't just another dead-end connection. I even thought about deleting the app just to clear my head, but I didn't. Instead, I typed out one more message. Whatever it is, just be real with me. I'd rather know the truth than keep guessing. She didn't reply that night. The next morning, I woke up to a new message. Meet me tomorrow, 500 p.m. Oakwood Cafe. I'll be there. No emojis, no excuses, just that. It caught me off guard, but I didn't hesitate. I wrote back, I'll be there. I had no idea what was coming. I just knew I needed answers. I got that message, meet me tomorrow, 500 p.m. Oakwood Cafe, I'll be there. I must have read it 10 times in a row. Short, direct, no explanation. Just like that, I stared at it thinking, why now? What changed? But at the same time, I didn't care. I had been waiting for this for 3 weeks. Finally, I was going to meet the person I had been texting every day. Melissa, or so I thought. That entire day felt like a blur. I couldn't concentrate at work. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. But she didn't send anything else. No, see you tomorrow. No jokes, no extra details, just silence. And that made me even more anxious. Was she nervous? Regretting it? Changed her mind. I wanted to reply with something casual like, looking forward to it, or what should I wear, but I didn't. I figured I'd give her space. She already made a move I wasn't expecting. I wasn't going to push it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just kept turning over the same questions in my head. Why did she always avoid meeting before? Why agree now out of nowhere? Was it guilt, curiosity, or something else entirely? I even thought for a second, what if it's a setup? What if she's not even real and it's some messed up prank? But deep down, I didn't believe that. Something about our talks felt too real to be fake. The next morning, I woke up early, way earlier than I had to. I showered, shaved, ironed a decent shirt. I wasn't trying to impress anyone, but I didn't want to look like a guy who just rolled out of bed either. My shift at the warehouse was long, but my mind wasn't there. I kept checking the clock, wondering if she'd cancel at the last minute, or maybe send one of those vague texts. Something came up. Can we reschedule? I was almost expecting it, but she didn't. At 4:45 p.m., I parked across the street from Oakwood Cafe. It's this small, cozy place, nothing fancy but clean. Windows facing the street, a few outdoor tables not too crowded. I sat in my car for a few minutes scanning the sidewalk. My hands were sweating. I wasn't nervous like on a first date. It was different. I just needed clarity, closure maybe, or confirmation that the person I had been texting really existed. At 4:58, I got out of the car and crossed the street. Inside the cafe, the smell of coffee and baked goods hit me immediately. A barista with purple hair greeted me, but I just nodded and looked around. There were 6 people inside, 2 students on laptops, an older man reading a newspaper, and 3 women all in their 40s or 50s, chatting over tea near the back. No one who looked like Melissa, not even close. I double-checked the time on my phone, 5:01 p.m. Then I saw her. She wasn't sitting. She was standing near the register looking directly at me. I didn't recognize her at all, not from any photo I'd ever seen. She was in her early 40s, maybe 45, tops, shoulder-length brown hair, no makeup, just a simple cardigan and jeans. She looked nervous. I glanced past her expecting someone else. Maybe Melissa was behind her or outside, but then she said my name softly, Eric. I froze. She gave a small smile. Hi, can we sit down? My throat tightened. I didn't answer right away, just nodded and followed her to a corner booth. We sat. I didn't know what to say. My heart was pounding. I had no idea what was happening. She didn't waste time. She looked me in the eyes and said, I owe you an explanation, a full one. I didn't say anything. I just listened. My name is Karen. I'm not Melissa. Melissa's my daughter. She's 24, yes. And she's married. She lives in Seattle with her husband. That profile, I made it using her photos, but the messages, every single one of them, came from me. She looked down, then back at me. I know how this sounds, and I get it if you want to leave, but I want to be honest with you. I didn't move. I didn't speak. My mind was racing, trying to put all the pieces together. I didn't plan to hurt anyone, she said. I made the profile out of boredom, or maybe loneliness. I don't know. I didn't think anything would come of it. I figured most guys would be creepy or shallow and I'd delete it in a day. But then you messaged. She paused, trying to read my face. You were different. You were kind, thoughtful, real. I started answering as myself, but under her name. It felt harmless at first. I leaned back in my seat. I wanted to be angry, but I wasn't. I was confused, disappointed, but not angry. So all the conversations we had, the jokes, the late night talks, that was all you, she nodded slowly. All me. I rubbed my face with my hands. I didn't know what to feel. I'm not some manipulator, she added. I wasn't trying to trick you into anything. I enjoyed talking to you, and I knew that if I told you the truth from the beginning, you would have never responded. She was probably right. The cafe noise faded into the background. I sat there silent. She didn't try to justify anything else, just sat and waited. I looked at her, not as the fake profile, not as Melissa, but just Karen. I took a breath, then asked the only question I could think of. Why tell me now? Her voice cracked just a bit. Because you asked me to be real, and you were the only person who ever did. That hit harder than I expected. I didn't know what this meant or what would happen next. I just knew she wasn't lying now. And for the first time since we started texting, I finally knew who was really on the other end. I sat there in that booth, hands folded, heart racing, my head spinning. The woman across from me, Karen, wasn't who I thought I'd be meeting, not even close. And yet I recognized her. Not her face that was entirely new to me, but her words, the tone in her voice, the way she paused between thoughts, the honesty in her eyes. It was the same person I'd been texting for 3 weeks, just not the person I'd imagined. Neither of us said much at first. The cafe was quiet, but not uncomfortably so, just soft jazz playing from a corner speaker and the occasional hum of the espresso machine. Karen stirred her coffee slowly. I hadn't even ordered anything. She finally broke the silence. I know this is a lot. If you want to leave, I'll understand. I didn't move. I just looked at her, then finally spoke. I don't know what I want to do. I'm just trying to process this. She nodded, looking down. I should have told you sooner. I almost did a few times, but then you'd say something kind or something that made me laugh, and I'd think, just one more day. I asked the question that had been burning in my mind since I walked in. Why use your daughter's photos? Karen hesitated. Because I didn't think anyone would talk to me otherwise. I didn't plan to go this far. I wasn't looking for romance. I was lonely. I hadn't had a real conversation with anyone outside of work in months. Melissa's photos were already on my computer. They were from a family trip last summer. I uploaded one thinking I'd delete the app by the weekend. She looked up at me, and then you messaged. I shook my head. So you weren't trying to meet someone, not even secretly. She smiled sadly. Not until you. There was something in the way she said it that made the air shift between us, not flirtatious, not seductive, just honest, raw. She explained more. Karen was 42, worked full-time as an office administrator in a dental clinic, widowed for over 7 years. Her daughter Melissa had married young and moved out west. Karen lived alone in a small house not far from the cafe we were in. Her days were routine, her evenings quieter than she liked to admit. I used to think I was doing okay, she said. Then I realized I was talking to myself during dinner. Out loud. I wasn't sure what to say to that, but I didn't look away. Karen added, texting you, it made me feel like I existed again. I exhaled. You didn't think it was wrong. I did, she said immediately. Every day, every time I hit send. But I also told you the truth about who I was, just not my name or face. Everything else was me, my thoughts, my opinions, my stories. The music I liked, the books I hated, how I felt about work and life. That was all real. I had no reason not to believe her. She sounded exhausted from carrying it all. Why now? I asked again. Why did you decide to finally meet? Because you asked me to be real with you, she said, and because you deserve that much. I nodded slowly. Part of me wanted to get up and walk away. This wasn't what I signed up for. I didn't swipe right on a 42-year-old woman pretending to be her daughter. It sounded like the start of a viral Reddit post or a bad reality TV episode. And yet I didn't feel deceived the way I expected. Maybe because I'd been through enough fake conversations before, you know, the ones where the other person says just enough to keep your attention but never actually listens. Karen, even under the name Melissa, had always been present, attentive, funny, curious. She reached into her purse and pulled out a manila envelope. This is going to sound weird, but I brought this just in case you didn't believe me. She slid it across the table. Inside were three photos, one of her and Melissa clearly on vacation, palm trees in the background, both of them smiling. Another was a recent one, Karen sitting on a porch, a coffee cup in her hand, and a third, a screenshot of the dating app profile before she deleted it, same photo I had swiped on. "You didn't have to bring this," I said. "I know, but I didn't want you to think I was lying again." I looked down at the photo of her and her daughter. Melissa looked like a typical 24-year-old, bright eyes, playful smile, not the woman sitting in front of me. But somehow now it made sense. The maturity in the messages, the depth, the patience, all of it had felt too grounded for someone that young. I had ignored the signs because I wanted it to be real. Karen finished her coffee. "You probably think I'm crazy." "I think you're human," I said. She looked surprised. We sat there a little longer. No pressure, no forced laughs, just silence, and a kind of mutual understanding that neither of us had expected. Finally, I asked, "So what now?" She gave a small shrug. "That's up to you. I didn't come here to ask for anything. I just didn't want to keep pretending. I'm not here to trick you into something. But I also don't regret talking to you even like that." I nodded. "I don't regret it either. I just need some time to think." "That's fair," she said. We stood up together. Outside, the sky had turned a soft gray. There was a breeze not too cold, just enough to remind you it wasn't summer anymore. We said goodbye at the door, not awkwardly, not formally, just quietly. She walked to her car. I stood on the sidewalk for a moment, watching her go. Then I walked to mine, sat in the driver's seat for a while, no music, no podcast, just silence. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to feel, betrayed, confused, sad. But the only thing I could really feel was curious. I still wanted to know who Karen really was, the real Karen, not the voice behind someone else's photo. And I guess somehow that meant I wasn't done talking to her just yet. It had been 3 days since we met in person, 3 days since Karen told me the truth, 3 days since I looked into the eyes of a woman I didn't know but somehow already did. I hadn't texted her. She hadn't texted me, oh funny. And honestly, I appreciated that. She gave me space and I needed it. I spent those days going through her messages, scrolling back through our conversations, listening again to some of the old voice notes. Funny thing was, they didn't sound so different now. Her voice, which had once seemed too mature for a 24-year-old, suddenly made perfect sense. Her phrasing, her warmth, the way she paused before giving advice, it all clicked. I wasn't angry, just off balance. I'd gotten used to this idea of someone, Melissa, and that person didn't exist, at least not in the way I thought. What made it complicated was that the emotional connection was still real. The person I laughed with, opened up to, relied on, that was Karen. Not a bot, not a scammer, not a cruel trick, just a lonely woman who took things too far. I thought about telling someone just to process it, but I didn't. Not yet. Because the second I'd say it out loud, "I've been texting a woman pretending to be her daughter," it would sound ridiculous, even though it didn't feel that way. By the fourth day, I caved. I pulled out my phone and sent her a message. "You want to grab lunch tomorrow?" She replied in under 2 minutes. "Yes, same place, sure, noon." I got there 5 minutes early this time. She was already sitting at the same booth reading something on her phone. When she looked up and saw me, she smiled, not nervously, not cautiously, just calmly. I slid into the seat across from her. "Hey," I said. "Hi," she replied. A beat of silence. Then we both sort of chuckled at the same time, like two people who had been through something weird and didn't quite know what to do with it. We ordered nothing fancy, just 2 turkey sandwiches and iced teas. And for the first time, we actually talked, not through screens, not filtered through a fake name, just talked. She told me about work, about the dentist she worked for, who she said was brilliant with teeth but awful with people, about a coworker who microwaved fish every Wednesday, about her garden, and how the neighborhood squirrels kept stealing her tomatoes. It wasn't flirty, it wasn't forced. It just felt normal. I told her about the warehouse, how a pallet of frozen goods burst open and we had to mop up puddles of chicken broth for an hour. She laughed, the kind of real snorting laugh people only do when they're completely unguarded. It made me smile. At one point, she looked at me and said, "I know this probably isn't what you wanted. I know I'm not what you expected." I thought for a second before replying, No, you're not, but I'm starting to think maybe that's not such a bad thing. She looked genuinely surprised. Really? I don't know what this is, I said. Honestly, I'm not trying to define it, but I enjoyed talking to you. Still do, and right now that feels like enough. She looked down, then back up. That means a lot. We paid and walked outside. The sky was clear and the air had that kind of crispness that tells you fall's coming. We stood there for a moment not saying much. Want to go for a walk? She asked. I nodded. There was a park 2 blocks down. We walked slowly, not in a rush to get anywhere, just moving side by side, not touching, not leaning into anything, just walking. She told me more about her daughter, how she got married at 22, how they talk every few weeks, how she's doing well out in Seattle. Melissa didn't know anything about the dating app. Karen said she deleted the profile right after our meeting. I should have never used her photos, she said. I know that was wrong. I get why you did it, I replied. Doesn't make it okay, but I get it. Karen nodded, then looked at me carefully. Do you think less of me? I didn't answer right away. No, I said. I think more of you now that I know the truth. You could have ghosted me. You could have kept the lie going, but you didn't. She looked like she might cry for a second, but blinked it away. I just didn't want to lose what we had. It felt real. It was real, I said, just different than I thought. We reached a bench and sat down. There were kids playing soccer on the field nearby and an older couple walking a dog on the trail. I turned to her. So what do we do now? She smiled softly. Whatever you want. I don't expect anything from you. I'm not here to play games or pretend I'm someone I'm not. If you want to just be friends, that's fine. If you want to never talk again, I'd understand. And if you want to see where this goes, I'm open to that too. That last part caught me off guard. I didn't respond right away, not because I didn't know what I felt, but because I was finally allowing myself to feel it without judgment. I think we keep talking, I said. We see each other when we want to. No pressure, no labels, just two people figuring things out. She nodded. That sounds nice. We sat a while longer. Then I walked her to her car. No hug, no awkward goodbye, just a smile and a see you later. And for the first time in a long time, I walked back to my car feeling not confused, not disappointed, not even hopeful, just okay. And sometimes okay is a good place to start from. It's been a little over 2 months since that first lunch after everything came out. Since Karen told me the truth, since we sat in that booth, unsure if we were saying goodbye or starting something completely different. Looking back now, I don't think either of us knew what we were walking into. And maybe that's why it worked, because we didn't try to force it into being more than what it was. After that second meeting, we kept seeing each other not every Sunday, not even every week, but consistently. Sometimes it was coffee. Other times we'd take walks, go to the farmer's market, or grab lunch on our breaks. She told me early on, I don't want to be a burden, Eric. If you ever feel like this is too weird or too complicated or just not what you want, say it. I'll understand. And I respected that. She never pressured me, never made things blurry. She was exactly who she was, and I was exactly who I was. People love asking what we are. Are we dating? Are we friends? Is it something romantic? Or just a complicated version of companionship? And the truth is, it doesn't really fit into a box. Here's what it is. We enjoy each other's company. We talk, we laugh, we meet up maybe once or twice a week. We go to the movies sometimes, usually sit in the back row, but not like that, just because she prefers not being near loud teenagers. We've watched a few old films at her place. She loves anything with Paul Newman. Sometimes we cook together. She makes a killer chili. I bring beer. We haven't kissed. We haven't slept together. And I'm not saying that to seem polite or proper. I'm saying it because that's not what this turned out to be. Not every connection has to be about passion or falling in love or writing a fairy tale ending. Sometimes a connection is just peace, warmth, comfort in a world that usually doesn't stop moving. A couple of weeks ago, Karen told me she'd started going to a book club in her neighborhood. She said she hadn't done anything social like that in years. I asked what changed. She smiled and said, "You reminded me I still matter." That hit me harder than I expected. And I realized she reminded me of the same thing. Before all this, I was floating going to work, coming home eating alone, falling asleep to a screen repeating it all. Karen disrupted that. She didn't fix my life, I didn't fix hers. But we gave each other a reason to look up from our phones and actually feel connected. I've learned more from this experience than I ever expected to. I learned that people carry loneliness in invisible ways. That honesty isn't always neat and timely. Sometimes it shows up late wearing someone else's name. And I learned that sometimes the most meaningful connections come from the least expected places. A few nights ago, we sat on her back porch drinking tea. It was cold out, but she had one of those little fire pit things. She had a blanket wrapped around her legs. I had on a hoodie. We didn't say much, just watched the flames and listened to a neighbor's wind chimes. At one point she said, "You know, I'm glad you didn't walk away." And I told her, "Me too." Then we sat there in silence again, the kind of silence that isn't awkward or tense, just quiet, settled. I don't know how long this connection will last. I don't know what it will turn into, if anything. But I do know this: she helped me feel seen again, and I think I did the same for her. Sometimes that's enough. No big drama, no falling in love, no goodbye kisses in the rain, just two people who needed something and happened to find it in each other. That's how it ended. Or maybe more accurately, that's how it began. Eric and Karen's story unveils a deeply moving lesson. Genuine connection can emerge from unexpected places, even through deception, when honesty and vulnerability prevail. Eric's journey began with a swipe on a dating app, seeking solace in a quiet life, only to find himself drawn to Melissa, whose thoughtful messages lit up his days. The revelation that Melissa was Karen, a 42-year-old widow using her daughter's photos, could have ended in betrayal, but instead it sparked a profound bond rooted in truth. Their story teaches us that human connection transcends appearances or preconceptions. It thrives in the raw, unfiltered moments of being seen and heard. Karen's courage to confess her loneliness and Eric's willingness to stay, despite the shock, show that forgiveness and openness, it can transform pain into something meaningful. Their undefined relationship, neither romance nor mere friendship, reminds us that life's most valuable bonds don't always fit neat labels. They're built on mutual respect, shared laughter, and the quiet comfort of knowing you matter to someone. This tale urges us to embrace the messiness of human relationships, to seek authenticity over perfection, and to find beauty in the connections that surprise us even when they start with a lie. Have you ever found a meaningful connection in an unexpected way? Share your story in the comments, we'd love to hear. How life surprised you. If this story of honesty and connection touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and join our community for more tales that inspire. Let's keep exploring the power of real human bonds together.